Hey y'all, welcome back to D&N Custom Creations. I took on a job today that I knew I shouldn't do, but it was for a friend, and you know how that works. So I thought I'd give it a try. Let me show you what I'm trying to do. So I've got some 3-inch cold rolled round bar that is cut to 17.5 inches, and I'm having to turn down a nub on the end to 1.5 inches. Now, my little 12 by 36 lathe is really not made to do that kind of work. But I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So you can see here I've got a piece in the chuck. I've got a big 10-inch diameter chuck on this little lathe. Way bigger than it should have on it, but that's the only way I had enough bore diameter to get this piece in. And I need to cut the nub on the end. Well, you can imagine sticking out that far, even though it's a 3-inch piece of round stock, I get chatter like crazy. Well, I thought, no problem. I will stick my steady rest on there and support it out on the end, and should hopefully take care of it. You can see next to the chuck where I have already turned down a flat spot for that steady rest. And I thought, well, no big deal. So I got my steady rest out. And as further proof that this machine is really not made to handle that kind of thing, let me show you what I got started with. So here is the steady rest that came with that little machine, and just further proof that that little machine is not supposed to be doing work on 3-inch diameter stuff when it's hanging out of the chuck by about 15-16 inches. But the problem with these, that steady rest, those are backed out as far as they go, and it is nowhere close to 3 inches. And so the first order, if I was going to use that, which I did because I had so much trouble with chatter, is that I actually had to make 3 of these, but shorter, to try and get them farther down into the barrel here in order to get that 3-inch in. And the problem is that I couldn't just modify what was in there, because in the end, it's made for holding the little brass nub, and then it's bored out probably halfway, and then at the very end, it's got maybe 1/2 inch of thread for the adjuster. I'm going to pull one of these out so we can compare and show you what I've had to do. It'll go quite small. It's made to do a lot of small stuff, but it sure won't get anywhere close to do that the 3-inch. All right. So you can see in the end the thread. It's not very far, maybe not even quite 1/2 inch. Got a keyway cut, and then the other end is bored for the little brass nub. Now, wouldn't you imagine? Being Chinese made, that brass nub is not the same diameter. All 3 of them are different diameters. So the end of that, where that little brass nub is sort of not a press fit, but a snug fit, you had to bore them out for each one of those different brass. So I've done that. Here is one. You can see the difference in the length, but bored it out, each one unique for the brass that was going to fit in there, threaded on the other side, a keyway cut, and that's what I had to do just to be able to get that 3-inch bar in the steady rest on that little lathe. All right, show you some action using that here in just a second. Okay, put the after I turn that flat spot down that the steady rest will be running on, I turned it around, and we've got it dialed in pretty good, less than 0.5 thousandths. So feel pretty good about that. So let's now get that steady rest on this thing and see if we can make some chips. Okay, got the steady rest on there, lubed up with some Way Lube, getting ready to put a center in to help and give a little bit more support even in the steady rest. Well, I've already had to make one change. You can see the where I did have the steady rest running is too close to the end. And what happens down here as the carriage gets close, get a buildup of a lot of these chips and stuff, and it starts to crunch up against those chips, and not a good thing. So anyway, I've just moved it back about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter, and I think we're good to go. Started making some cuts. So it's going to get a little loud when I start this thing, but you'll see it making some chips. It's I'm cutting about 50 thousandths at a depth of cut, so 100 thousandths diameter.